Welcome to Books for Success. Today, we're delving into the wisdom within, Heal from Within. A Guidebook to Intuitive Wellness by Katie Beecher. Heal from Within is a guidebook to self-healing. While traditional medicine tends to focus on symptoms, Beecher argues that we should be paying attention to the cause of an illness. Her healing strategies are based on personal experience, as well as her professional career as a counselor and medical intuitive. Before we begin, subscribe and ring the bell for notifications if you want to keep receiving the knowledge of book summaries about health, wealth, love, psychology, and much more. Don't be shy about dropping your book suggestions for us to summarize. Also, you can use this video as an audiobook summary. Let's grow and succeed together. Many physical health issues have emotional causes. In this summary, you'll learn how to strengthen your intuition, what our chakras have to do with our physical and emotional health, and the surprising benefits of a spiritual crisis. Just to be clear, we want to represent the content of this book faithfully and provide supplementary information, but if you have serious symptoms or conditions, please still see a doctor. Alright, so, let's start with a real-life example of how our bodies can be affected by emotional issues. In 2007, Katie Beecher, who wrote this book, was seriously stressed out. She was working hard, dealing with family problems, and feeling more and more anxious. It got to the point where she couldn't even express herself creatively. That was a pretty big problem considering at the time, she was working as a watercolor artist. She did her best to suppress her feelings and carry on, until it got to a point where she just couldn't anymore. All of a sudden, she began suffering from intense, debilitating abdominal pain. Her doctors did countless scans and medical exams, but they weren't able to discover what was causing it. Then, finally, her gynecologist spotted something. Some kind of abnormality in Beecher's uterus. They scheduled a hysterectomy. Beecher and her gynecologist were both shocked by what they found. The surgery revealed that Beecher's left fallopian tube and ovary were wrapped around her uterus. How did that happen? Beecher has come up with her own interpretation. In addition to being an artist, she's also a licensed counselor and a medical intuitive. She believes that the health conditions we experience often have emotional causes and symbolic significance. In this case, intense stress and a creative drought coincided with her gynecological problems. And that's no coincidence. The uterus, it's a source for all human life. Beecher's emotional and creative struggles manifested themselves there, in the form of a physical health problem. In her personal life and in her career as a counselor, Beecher has witnessed many similar examples. People who've gone through stressful or traumatic experiences often end up suffering from a whole range of health conditions, from migraines to irritable bowel syndrome. To a certain extent, Western medicine can provide answers and healing for these conditions. But for some patients, particularly in the United States, going to the doctor can be a frustrating experience. Appointments are often brief and a patient is given a quick fix, like a prescription that might not even resolve the problem. The doctor is so focused on the patient's symptoms that they neglect the root. What's the cause of the illness? That's what we really need to know in order to heal. When physical health problems are rooted in emotional issues, they can't necessarily be cured by the current approach. But that doesn't mean that they can't be cured. Far from it. In fact, we can actually heal ourselves and make full recoveries, even from serious conditions. And healing starts from within. We can get a better understanding of our health issues by tapping into the power of intuition. Before we get into the details of self-healing, it's time for a quick introduction to an important figure in Beecher's life, Carl Jung. Jung was one of the most influential psychologists and psychiatrists of the 20th century. He's best known for his ideas about the unconscious mind. Beecher first encountered Jung's ideas many years ago, when she was in therapy for an eating disorder. Her therapist was trained in Jungian psychology. One of Jung's theories is that we already possess the solutions to our problems. The answers are within us, and we can access them through the power of intuition. This is an idea that really spoke to Beecher. Jung's idea of intuition as the God within became something that she lived by. When we listen to our intuition, we can discover so much about our health. That means we need to treat physical symptoms as signals, messages that something needs our attention. It's not always easy to get in touch with our intuition, especially for those of us who grew up in a culture where it wasn't understood or valued. But with a little practice, anyone can connect with their intuition. And there's a useful technique to do it. Written dialogue. Here's how it works. First, you clear your head with a short walk or meditation. Then, write down a question and imagine it being directed to your intuition. Listen, and write down what you hear. Keep in mind that the answer might not be verbal. It could take the form of an emotion or physical sensation. Next, write a short response. Then listen again. You can continue to have a conversation with your intuition in this way, and repeat the exercise as often as you like. And if it feels hard or uncomfortable, know that it gets easier with practice as your intuition gets stronger and stronger. There are also other ways to develop this capability, like painting or dream interpretation. Just give them a try and see what seems to click for you. Many of us need to reframe how we think about intuition. It's a bit like your inner pet who loves you without judgment, or a loving, supportive parent. Your intuition wants the best for you. And it's the key to healing. Okay. So far we've learned that the physical health problems that we have often have emotional causes and that intuition can be used for alternative methods for healing. You can use chakras to heal yourself. But that still leaves us with a big question. How? How can we use intuition to heal ourselves? According to Beecher, it's all about chakras. The concept of chakras has been used in Eastern religions for centuries. Essentially, chakras are the points where the physical and the spiritual body connect. There are 7 in total, aligned vertically from the spine to the head. When Beecher starts working with a new client, she begins with a chakra interpretation, in order to understand which issues need to be addressed. Each chakra corresponds with a part of the body and specific issues. For the sake of time, we'll focus on the 7th, or crown chakra, which is on the top of your head, the 3rd chakra, found in your gut, and the 1st chakra, which is also known as the root chakra, and it's located at the bottom of your spine. And these 3 examples do provide a good understanding of how chakras correspond with emotional and physical symptoms, and how we can use that knowledge to heal ourselves. But of course, they won't cover everything. Many things, from asthma to thyroid issues, headaches, or even trauma. These are all associated with other chakras. If you want to find out more, or you're curious about a particular ailment, you can look into how the emotional or physical things you're experiencing align with specific chakras. Once you've tapped into your intuition and got to grip with the chakras, you're set up for a lifetime of self-healing. Use the 7th chakra to work through issues affecting your overall physical or emotional health. Breakdown or breakthrough? For Carl Jung, it was both. In 1913, he was under immense stress, both personally and professionally. He began to hear voices and suffer from disturbing visions, like Europe flooded in blood. This might sound like a mental breakdown, but Jung didn't see it that way. He listened to his intuition and worked with his thoughts, writing everything down during waking trances. And the result was a book, entitled The Red Book. Although it wasn't published until 2009, Jung's ideas have been hugely influential, shaping the world of psychology and self-help. And while Jung didn't live to see the book's impact, just the experience of writing it was cathartic. It allowed him to regain control of his life and access important spiritual knowledge. Many scholars believe that Jung's visions of a blood-soaked Europe were a premonition for the violence that began a year later with the First World War. Jung's experience was intense, but it wasn't that unusual. Many people go through a kind of spiritual crisis at some point in their lives. And that doesn't necessarily have to mean apocalyptic visions. Feeling overwhelmed or intensely anxious are typical symptoms of a period of spiritual crisis. If any of this sounds familiar, you should focus on the 7th chakra, the one at the top of the head. This chakra is kind of like the big picture. When Beecher works with clients, she uses the 7th chakra to get an overview of someone's physical, emotional, and mental health. As well as spiritual or emotional problems, this chakra is also associated with chronic illness, fatigue, and health problems affecting the whole body. Symbolically, the 7th chakra is linked to the head, but it also emphasizes the connectedness of the entire body. If you find yourself struggling with any 7th chakra issues, whether they're physical, mental, or emotional in nature, here's what to do. First, consider getting support from an open-minded professional who will help you define the root cause of your problem. You might try mindfulness practices, Kundalini yoga, or meditation to reconnect with yourself. You could also keep a journal, try art therapy, or pay extra attention to your dreams to understand what's truly important to you. And above all, trust yourself and listen to your intuition. Use the third chakra to understand the connection between past stress and present health problems. The third chakra can also provide valuable insight into our emotional issues. This chakra is all about the gut, a particularly sensitive part of the body. Actually, the gut is sometimes called the second brain because there's so much going on in there. It's where many of our emotions are picked up, processed, and even created. Many people don't know this, but gut bacteria make neurotransmitters like dopamine and serotonin, which influence our mood. Then consider the fact that there are about 500 million neurons in your gut, which are directly connected to your brain through the nervous system. There are literally millions of connections between your physical and your emotional health. So if you have symptoms in the third chakra, such as bowel issues, weight problems, or an eating disorder, you need to find out what's going on. What's the root cause? Interestingly, Beecher has noticed that third chakra symptoms are some of the most common issues for her clients. And there's a pattern. The majority of these people have had difficult childhoods or experienced some kind of trauma. Traumatic past experiences can have a major impact on our health. The psychiatrist Bessel van der Kolk has written about this in his book, The Body Keeps the Score, and he makes a convincing case. Our bodies remember past stress and trauma and express physical symptoms even years after the events. And third chakra symptoms are a clear message from your body. You need to take care of yourself physically and emotionally in order to heal. For example, you can address weight issues by eating healthy and intuitively. Or if you're concerned about your gut health, try balancing your bacteria with probiotics or drink plenty of water. But whatever your symptoms, make sure you find ways to release stress and address the emotional side of whatever you're experiencing. Because if you don't, you can be sure that your body will hang on to it. Use the first chakra to return to your roots, and deal with any dysfunctional family relationships. One more chakra remains. It's time to look at the first chakra, located at the base of the spine. As you may remember, this is also known as the root chakra, which means it's all about our roots, our home, and our family. If you're experiencing issues in this chakra, resolving them should be a priority. Think about it this way. If you don't have basics like food or shelter, you'll be so stressed out that it's basically impossible to think of anything else. And it's the same with root chakra emotional issues. Until you deal with them, you're unlikely to have the energy to heal in other areas or contemplate things like spiritual growth or life purpose. So as part of your healing, make sure you consider the first chakra very carefully. Common physical symptoms that come up with this chakra include skin sensitivity and autoimmune disorders. Emotional concerns, on the other hand, often involve dysfunctional family relationships. No matter what's in your past, your family is part of your roots. Your upbringing and your family relationships can impact various aspects of your health. Something to consider as well is that family dysfunction can cross generations, and they might even alter DNA through epigenetics. That means that potentially, a trauma experienced by your grandparent might still influence your behavior or your emotional experience. But there are different solutions depending on your relationship to your family and past. It might help to set healthy boundaries with difficult family members or remove yourself from their negative energy. And you should absolutely make your mental health a priority and get help if necessary. That could be in the form of therapy or support groups like adult children of alcoholics. Once you've found ways to deal with these issues, it'll become easier to heal in other areas too. So listen to your body and look after yourself. No matter what you've gone through, you can heal and thrive. Basically, as Beecher explains, traditional Western medicine doesn't have all the answers. Final summary. But the good news is, many of those answers are actually within us. So listen closely to your intuition and work with your chakras to find healing strategies for all areas of your health. The insights you gain during the process will give you everything you need for a happy, healthy life. Thanks for being part of our insightful voyage. If our summary piqued your interest, we encourage you to dive into the complete book for a deeper understanding. Don't forget to like this video, Subscribe for more content if you're new here, and share it with others who might find it valuable. Keep on reading, discovering, and advancing until our next adventure.